right, you guys, we are live in effect. It is Thursday evening. You already know what time it is. I'm your host, Coach Terrence Wood, live in the locker room. I got my co-host that always holds me down every Thursday. That's none other than Q, the guru. What's going on, Playmaker?
What's going on, Coach? What's going on? We got another good one, man. Y'all buckle up.
We got another good one. And the gentleman that you see in the middle of the screen doesn't need any type of introduction. But for those that don't know and haven't been in the football industry long enough, the gentleman you see in the middle of the screen is none other than Coach Corey Fuller. This is someone you guys that had an amazing football career at the University of Florida State. He went on to have a great 10-year NFL career and then has been big, you guys, about giving back to the community, giving back to the younger generation, has been a high school coach, college coach, and now director of football operations at Florida State. Now, we don't have him for long. He graced us because this is during the season, major Power 5 football, so we appreciate him. But how's it going, Coach? Thanks for coming on.
Thank y'all, Coach T, Q, for having me on the show, man, just reaching out to me. And I'm just trying to do my best, man, to spread this knowledge that God has blessed me with to help our tomorrow. And our youth is our tomorrow. No matter how much we think we know, we won't get away from them one day. We need to leave behind what we know.
There you go, Coach. So let's get right into it. You know, if you're joining us for the first time in the locker room, we cover the trending topics that are going on. We cover them from an educational standpoint so you guys can be gamed up and be on the next level compared to everybody else. So I'm going to get into the first topic, and this is RG3. RG3 was a superstar coming out of Baylor. Unfortunately, career cut short due to injuries. And he's saying, Coach, that he wish he would have been handled a little bit more like Chase Young, you know, the superstar DN that's sitting out because of his injury. In your opinion, Coach, do you think it's a little harder for some of these coaches to hold back a superstar player that they know is going to help them win games, or do you think it's just case by case?
I think that it's a mentality case by case, and some of it could be to rush a superstar back. But in this day and time, these guys are making so much money. And because I hurt myself in college, I blew my right knee out and I broke my right ankle. So they held me out for almost 18 months. But ACLs, you wasn't supposed to come back from them back in those days. So they was being cautious, and we had graduated 3-4 cornerbacks the year before, so they was being cautious because of the experience tool of it. But I think that guys should take their time and not rush back, because when you go on the field and you hurt, that's not an excuse to a coach or organization. So take your time and get well, because there's a lot at stake for these players in today's time. We made good money. These guys make super money. And I would do my best if I'm young and I got hurt young. If I'm old, try to get back, to get the thing back rolling and get it over with, because you already know the clock is on you.
Great point. Great point. We're going to fly through some of these questions because Coach is short on time. On to our next topic, you guys. And this one is a big one because not everybody feels the same way about this. But I'm interested to get Coach's opinion on this. When we talk about the priorities, Coach, of a college coach, because obviously, especially at the level you're at, there's a lot of pressure and people want to see wins. And, you know, there's not always a lot of time for tomorrow. In your opinion, Coach, what should be the top 3 priorities of a college coach today?
I think we have it at Florida State. First of all, you need to have somebody that care about the program.
Okay.
You need to have somebody that care about kids and somebody that care about the product they're putting on the field. And we have that in Coach Mike Norvell. He's doing a great job. We've been down because of the way it ended with the coach that left us, and then the next hire, he's regrouping. I don't think we have to rebuild at Florida State. We have to regroup. The foundation for football, it was laid there by the great one. He's laid the rest now, and Coach Brown did a great job of building the program and building the mystique of Florida State football. And we just got to grab hold to it. And Coach is doing a great job. And I'm telling y'all this, and this, like I tell Coach all the time, we talk a lot because I report directly to him, and I tell him all the time, man, you have a lot of Coach Brown traits in you. He's a young, energetic coach. He loves his kids. He loves the guys that work for him and that work up under him. And you won't know if he's the head coach or the guy that's sweeping the floor in the building. And that's why Florida State will be successful. This guy is a head coach at a Power 5 historical school where it's a destination job, not a step-up job. And that you would not know if he's the head coach or the guy that's sweeping the floor. And that's what I love about him. And that's what attracted me to him when he stepped to me about an opportunity to come back home.
That's huge. That's huge.
Yeah, that is huge.
Q, talk to me. I mean, let's say you're shipping one of your boys off to a Clemson or a Florida State. What are maybe 2 or 3 of the top things you want to see from a coach?
I mean, the same thing that Coach Fuller said. I mean, it's like he's part of the story. He's part of the puzzle piece. You got Coach Fuller, you got the Terrell Buckleys, you got the Derek Brooks, you got all these guys. Like, it's the history, it's the pageantry behind, this school and this coach that's currently, at the helm of this. He understands that. He understands what Coach Bowden built and what he left. And it's up to him to continue it. So, I mean, absolutely, you're going to look at, does a coach have this training? Is that program headed in that direction up under a man like that? That's what I'm looking at as a dad for sure, sending my kid off.
That's big time. That's big time right there. On to our next topic, you guys, and this is a big one. Obviously, we've had some comments from Kanye West, and he's got his hands in a lot of different things. One of them is a sports agency, Donda, and superstar Aaron Donald said, "Hey, I'm ending the partnership. This isn't good for my personal brand," and so have other athletes. I wanted to ask you, Coach, when you look at the athletes today, because obviously you came up in a different era, Q and I did too. When you look at the athletes today, do they realize how quick they can lose everything, in your opinion?
It's you can lose everything back in our days. Unfortunate. Right now, there's a reckoning over Kanye West, which he brought a lot of attention on himself. So, but when you are a leader of anything, you always have to think about the people up under you. And it wasn't thought out. You can get your message across without being so vulgar or so hurtful to other people, and it wouldn't lead to things like this. I don't understand what angle he's coming from. I don't know what agenda he's trying to push. But these guys had to do what they feel like they had to do for their brand, for their own sake, for their own peace. Because once that ball get to rolling downhill fast, it hits everything. It turns it from a ball into a bowler. So they got from up under that bowler real quick. And I think they did what they thought was best for their career. Whoever gave them advice, because at the end of the day, both of them has made a lot of money. But man, you don't want people walking around here. It's already, I'm gonna just keep it real. There's already a look on us because of the color of our skin. Don't bring more anger to you because what you may think or you may feel. I don't care what people feel about me. If they keep it to themselves, that's their business. But I'm not walking around here trying to hate people. Life is too short. We have only one opportunity to get it right. I think that's what happened with a lot of young people today. They don't think about it before they act. Because behind every action, there's a reaction. And too many people don't keep enough real people around them. And so if you're going to run with people, somebody in your crew got to be real and be willing to step up to you. You got 100 million or 1 billion or $1. The Bible says a friend will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. That's biblical.
That's big right there.
Like this Kanye West thing, I'm elaborating on a little more than I want to. But we're fighting things that we can't control. When you know something's one way, you're at the table. Why mess that up for your own personal feeling? Won't you try to do it he could have called those same people he trying to call out. He had enough power to call them to the table and talk to them and get them to help our community. Instead of talking against them, talk with them and get them to come in and help instead of trying to be divisive and get more of a division amongst them. Man, when they have the pie, we just try to get a slice.
Great point right there.
I don't discredit guys for the way they feel. I don't discredit guys what they do, however they gotta feel like they gotta take care of their family. But what I do, I try to hold them accountable for when you hurt the masses. And when you have a certain lifestyle, you can say what you want to say, do what you want to do, even if it comes down and hurt you, you still can go behind your gates and live your life the way you want to. But the masses can't. So when you get in a place of power or position, like y'all have with this show, make sure that you're trying to speak the right content out, because some little boy, some little girl who is aspiring to be like y'all is listening.
Wow, I love it
Yeah.
right there. And that's
Yeah.
why you come to the locker room, because you're going to
Yeah.
get the truth,
That's
you
strong.
guys.
That's strong.
Real quick, Q, do you think that they made the right decision, these athletes?
I mean, like Coach said, they made the best decision, for their individual careers. I mean, Aaron already has a ring. They both of them have made a lot of money, but you don't want to be where you're going out of your way to put a bullseye on your back. Like I said, unfortunately, sometimes because of the color, of your skin, you have a bullseye in and of itself. But you don't want to go, and add and put salt, in the wound. And
Great
I
point
mean,
right there.
to each his own. Kanye's a billionaire. He can, maybe he can, I'm not saying, whether he did anything right or wrong. That's that man's discretion. But as Coach said, in regards to the masses, he doesn't understand how it can affect others around him and the masses as well. So, yeah, you really have to be careful with choices, man. That's what a good life is. I mean, people don't understand. I mean, parents and kids listening, like people that have a great life and people that don't, is simply coming down to choices. That's all it really comes down to in a lot of cases.
That's why I tell people all the time, be careful when you try to pump somebody to be your kid's idol and who they idolize. The thing about it, they give us too much credit as athletes. They give us too much credit as rappers. They give us too much credit as movie stars, when our parents should be our role models, or your parent. I come from a single family home. My mother, my grandmother was my role models. That's what pushed me. Like Dion made a statement, I don't need motivation. We looked at our mamas and our grandmas and our surroundings and our communities, and we wanted to make a difference ever since we've been kids. Most of the time, when you see people doing the type of work we do, going from being a professional athlete, going into HBCU, going into these high school jobs that are bad and taking them, this is because this is the heart God has placed in us to help our people. A lot of you guys do a lot of talking. They do a lot of rapping. They do a lot of damage, but they're not even trying to clean it up. Like, we get on here, we're killing this man, which he helped bring us this attention to himself. But we don't, like, Black Lives Matter. So, because we're talking about a social justice stuff right now.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter. Why are kids getting killed in our communities every day and nobody's marching?
Yeah. It was
Like,
just a mass shooting in my hometown.
My brother got killed by another black kid at 18 years old in 1992. So I don't say I'm against Black Lives Matter. I'm not going to say I'm with Black Lives Matter, but I do know this right here. If they really matter, every time one die, somebody should be marching. We should be at City Hall. We should be in the mayors, and we should be in these commissioners' face, because our kids are losing their lives and nobody's really paying that attention. The gun laws won't change because it's not affecting them. Even when these mass shooting occurs, oh, he got mental illness. But in the black community, that's just the way they act. Okay. So why would they change the laws?
True.
We have to change what's inside of our communities. And it starts with one of us at a time, man.
Yeah.
Wow, that's big right there. And it's what's in your heart. What's in your heart, everybody, you got to do better. A lot of people got to do better. Now, real quick, I want to go back, Coach, because obviously the NIL has been huge. And this is something that none of us on this show got to partake in. We were all considered amateurs. Coach, you had an amazing college career, and it wasn't legal for you to take $1. Right here, you see Dunkin' Donuts strikes a deal with 15 Pitt players. Florida State has helped out and has a platform for many of their athletes. So, Coach, I wanted to ask you, when you sit back and look, and somebody who is on the administrative side now, how do you feel like NIL has positively or negatively affected the FSU athletes?
Before the NIL deal was done, kids was on ESPN on National Signing Day looking like they getting drafted into the NFL. This is what people don't understand. There's only 1,700 plus players a year in the league. It might be less than that, to be honest. There's only 32 teams. There's only 257 picks per year. 99.9% of the kids in college football would never make a dime in the NFL. These TV are so big that they got to do something with all the money. Social media, it didn't just work for likes or views. It worked to expose the money, the revenue. So what happened is that everybody's been exposed. So NIL deals, they're good. The generation is already soft because of all the reason we give them to be soft. It won't be the money. Now, do I think they should make rules to cap the money and everybody get a piece of the pie while they're in college? Yes. Or should they structure the way where the kids get some upfront money, but most of the money is put away? But when you been where I've been in the game, people think you talking against them. No, I'm talking for you, but I'm talking from the experience of spending money, losing money, trusting people. So the best NIL deal is to have something from when kids leave that institution, and when they don't go pro, they can have a good start to life. Because when you never had it and you never been part of it and you can't come for money, I can promise you that it's going to go. You're going to blow. It's going to go. That's just part of the maturity that makes you understand how to value a dollar. Unfortunately, there's very few LeBron James in the world. That's why his situation is unique. He's making a pattern and he's helping other guys understand. But LeBron James was the first guy that took his boys and made millionaires out of them. Like people, like we have a bad generational curse that continue to be passed down. Like we want to take LeBron James. Here's a guy that does so much in the black community, does so much for social justice, stands up for it when he has a lot to lose and nothing to gain if he don't do it. But he does it anyway, right? But we got to make him this and that compared to Michael Jordan. But you never hear nobody say, in the white race, they never say Larry Bird better than Jerry West. Why we do that? Like,
good point.
Like, you never hear white commentators get on radio shows, podcasts, and destroy their great players.
Great point.
I'm saying all that to tie it in this right here is that we have to systematically break our own curses and our generational things that have held our communities down to even try to move forward. Like, guys will get frustrated and say, man, they treat us like slaves. No, slaves didn't get paid. Slaves didn't get 3 meals a day. Slaves didn't get clothes. They lived in one bedroom shack.
Hey, but the one thing you were leaving out, Coach, I didn't mean to interrupt, but the one thing you leaving out in regards to our behavior is, man, slaves were pitted against each other for survival, and that never left.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? That never
we
left.
have correct issues in our own communities. We're electing people who just want our vote, that look like us, sound like us, but won't even come back to us until 4 years later. Like I try to stay out the conversation about slaves because one thing about it, nobody on this podcast was a part of it. You can read all the books. No matter how we want to say it, what they done. They ain't gave us nothing for it. They ain't gonna give us nothing for it. Somewhere along the line, we gotta move forward.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Absolutely.
We could follow dead leaders. We need new. We need young, energetic leaders, but that are doing it for the right reason. Like there's so many people capitalize off us, and we're not capitalizing off ourselves because we systematically have still had this mentality, me versus you. And when I came on y'all podcast, because y'all brothers look like me, you sound like me, and I know it's hard to get people to come on these shows because everybody's doing them. Everybody's doing them, you know. So I try to be real with myself and try to help spread what I know from my experiences of life and what I think can help us push the agenda just to make our tomorrow better. We're not going to change everything until we get our money in masses. We bring a lot of money and we spend it other places, so we don't have a lot of money as a race.
Wow, that's powerful right there, Coach. And I know we got you for a couple more minutes, so I want to get through these last couple of questions. We got some athletes that are watching, Coach, and some of them are talented, and they're wondering why they're not getting the call. In your opinion, there's been a lot of talks about the transfer portal. hurting the high school kids. From a director of football operations standpoint and your viewpoint, Coach, do you believe that the transfer portal has helped hurting the high school kids?
Now, because to be honest, look how many kids that's in the portal. See,
Yeah.
it's just like that draft. Only so many kids gonna get in the NFL. It's only so many kids gonna go in that portal and get pulled out of that portal to go to a Power 5 school. What you got to do as an athlete is do your thing in the classroom, off the field, before you get on the field, and everything will work out if you got the talent. I promise you. I'm in them rooms listening to them. If you are a big time player and you feel like you're supposed to be at Florida State, we will find you. Your social media page can't have all that foolishness on it. They look at everything. You kids, the number one attractive thing about a player is his grades.
Okay. So it's still the grades, Coach?
Yeah, it's still the grades. I promise you.
Okay.
If you don't have the grades, we can't do nothing with you.
Okay.
Like you have. It's just like going to a pond. You ain't got no bait. How you gonna catch a fish? You ain't got no grades. How you gonna get attention?
Great point.
True.
Great point.
But
you can have the rod, you can have everything, but you ain't got that bait to put on that hook. How you gonna catch the fish?
no, that's true. That's true.
Talk to me, Q. I mean, you got the KU hat on. You went to Kansas.
Man.
You know, they started off hot this year. Quarterback gets hurt. If you the head coach right now, you looking in the portal or you looking to the high schools?
I mean, you know, it kind of depends what's in it. Like Coach said, and we know that. I'm gonna keep saying it. I've been saying it for a long time. This portal's a double-edged sword, man. It's a lot of like great players, man, and they're stuck in that portal because again, you know, they don't want to. It's too many kids that don't want to scrap, for that starting spot. They start seeing any type of resistance and feel like because you're a 4 or 5 star recruit that you're supposed to walk in immediately, and you don't want to fight to start, and that's not sometimes, you might end up with the 2s, maybe even the 3s, and have to fight your way with the 1s. It's like that sometimes.
If you're trying to fix a bad problem, you're gonna put a band-aid on it in the portal. To fix a bad football problem, you got to recruit. Because you can't get help in the portal. You're getting starters in the portal. And it's not going to be that many starters that leave their school, to be honest. So if you look at the model of Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, they're doing it with recruits. Michigan, they may go in there and get 1 or 2, but you ain't going to build no team in the portal. Look at Michigan State. They did it for 1 year. Look at them this year. You got to have depth. So you high school kids, don't get frustrated. Don't get aggravated. Just trust me, if you're a 4 or 5 star, stop chasing NIL because you're going to miss the NFL chasing the NIL. Do your job in the class, on the field, and I promise you, they will find you.
I love that. I love that. You're going to miss the NFL chasing the NIL. So which one you trying to get? All right, Coach, we got you for 1-2 more minutes. And I know you are new to the Locker Room Show, Coach, but this is a fan favorite portion of the show. This is called the Lightning Round, Coach. The Lightning Round. We got the ready to go. And in the Lightning Round, Coach, this is our version of word association. So the first thing that comes to your mind, you got 60 seconds. I got my stopwatch here, but we want to hear the first thing that comes to your mind when I say the person's name or the phrase, Coach. And we're not just doing this for fun. I know you out in Tallahassee. So if you can get to 13, that's our high water mark right now. If you can get to 13, then you got a dinner and a hotel stay on us. So we are going to get ready for the lightning round with Coach Fuller and let him get out of here shortly. So I got my stopwatch ready. Let me restart it.
I should bring my son in here on this thing.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd like this. So we're going to go, Coach. First thing on your mind, and we're going to give you 1 extra for any technical delay. And Coach been up since 4:45 in this morning, so give him some grace if he says something a little off.
I got to drive home 15 miles from home. Let's go.
Okay, let's go. So let's get started. Number 1, Coach, first thing that comes to your mind. Bobby Bowden, go.
The GOAT.
Randall Cunningham.
Great.
Best food spot in Tallahassee.
Shell's Oyster Bar.
Dennis Green.
Oh man, don't say that. Don't bother me like that. The greatest all-time Afro-American coach to enter the NFL.
Oh, okay. Best wide receiver you played against.
I played with him. Chris Carter, Randy Moss.
All right. Warwick Dunn. 40 seconds, coach.
The biggest little man in football history.
Love it. New Jack City or Juice?
Both.
James Rickards High.
Who?
James Rickards High. Rickards High, your high school.
The greatest high school that was ever built on the face of the United States soil.
Time. There we go. So Coach got us down. He said Bobby Bowden, laid it down. He said Randall Cunningham, Bobby Bowden the GOAT, Randall Cunningham, a great. Warwick Dunn, the biggest small guy that you had. And then obviously, Chris Carter and Randy Moss every day in practice was big. And then he said both, you guys, New Jack City and Juice. So, Coach, we love it right there. You got, let's count them up, Coach. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He set the oyster bar. 7, 8, 9 is high school, and then we give him one more for the tech difficulty. So you got 10, Coach. We appreciate it, and then we're gonna sign you off with one last question. Q, I know you got a question for Coach. What was it?
The question was, Coach, what exactly, back when you were playing, what was how can I ask? Actually, let me ask a different question. What are you all doing to keep things how it was back in the day with keeping kids at home in Florida? Because back in the day, I know you mentioned a couple of big-time Power 5 universities, but back in the day, between y'all, Florida, and the U, you knew 9 times out of 10 a national championship somehow, some kind of way was coming through one of those 3 teams. What are you all doing to changing to keep boys home versus going to Ohio State and other schools?
The difference today is that the best players don't all want to go to the same school no more at the same time.
But wow.
I heard Nick Saban say the other day, I got a little bit more time. I heard Nick Saban say the other day that Tennessee got an eye backs and his kids didn't know what to do. And it's almost like the time we're living in where kids in this generation is so much softer because of all the rules they have made and trying to hold parents for not being aggressive with their kids in a way of discipline. And by their eye backs, you got to be tough. Linebackers ran downhill and met a fullback. Tight ends had the block. Receivers had the block, no matter what size they was. Today, we run the spread. Everybody's on the go. Everything fast. Everybody want it like the microwave. Put it in and come out. But people don't realize in life and in food, it has to be cooked. So you got to put it in a crock pot and let it take its time, marinate. Microwave is just designed to warm food up. So this generation, you won't see 2 and 3 top DBs go to the same school no more. And that's the difference. You can get players, but in 1990, we signed the number 1 cornerback, the number 3, and the number 4 in the same class. Clifton Abraham, Corey Sawyer, and Corey Fuller. And all 3 of us had a chance to play in the NFL because we went to Florida State, we got developed, and we love ball. If you love ball and you're a dog, you'll go where the dog's at.
Yeah.
So that sense back then, you feel like it was a different sense of hometown love and pride.
No,
I was committed to Georgia. It's not so much the hometown pride.
It's the competition.
It's competition.
That's what makes you the better player.
Games was easier than practice. Practice was easier. Games was easier than practice for us at Florida State. You know what I love the most? I played in 3 different teams over a 10-year career. And you know what I love the most? When guys told me, man, I wanted to go to Florida State, but they didn't recruit me. That's why they hated us. Because they wanted to go to Florida State. Man, I used to rush home to watch y'all play Miami, play Notre Dame. We play our game and run home to watch Florida State to see that horse.
Yeah.
That's what we're working to get back towards. And Mike Norvell, we trust we're going to get there. Yeah. I promise you. That man know what he's doing. And boy, he's an offensive guru. So we got to get the players, baby. So if you're listening to me and you're a player, do your schoolwork, get your tape to us, and we'll evaluate, And if you got it, Like my boy say, you ball, you get the call.
I'm telling you, boy, they gonna get you that 1988 that Dodge LeBaron, coach. What Prime had there?
I had a,
That's a different show.
I had a Ford Explorer. But, hey, listen, they get their own stuff. They get an NIL deal. They just don't know how to make money.
Facts. Well, hey, Coach, I know you tired, and I know you got to get your son, man. This was big for you to, grace us with your time, and I know our audience got a lot out of it, Coach. So get to the road.
Ask the audience don't ask questions.
Yeah, the audience, they up in here chatting for sure. We got Powerful, and we got, they was really chatting it up when you were talking about Kanye. If you guys got any quick questions, then don't hesitate.
Oh, okay, because we just thought you were pressing. That's all. Like I said, we know you appreciate your time.
Yeah, we ain't trying to burn no bridges, Coach. We want you to come back on.
I'm gonna come back all season. I'm gonna introduce my son.
Yeah, that'll be great.
Introduce your son.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
14-year-old Chase Fuller. He played baseball, no football. He played basketball. About 6'1", 180 right now.
Okay. He playing the right sport.
He is
playing the right sport.
He is. Don't make the mistake I made. No, keep that bat in his hand.
He gonna keep that bat in his hand. He loves it.
Yeah, definitely. That's a whole nother. I talk about that all the time. That's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother show. I told you.
Yeah.
Real quick, Coach, while we got you, because a lot of people don't know how colleges are structuring things a lot like the NFL level. Can you tell people what director of football operations entails?
Well, I'm the director of relations, so I deal directly with the players that's on our roster.
Okay.
Dorm rooms. I am a walking encyclopedia for life.
I love it.
So the same thing I was doing at high school, I do it pretty much at Florida State. I'm not a coach, and I won't coach right now because my son is in the midst of his young career. And man, that's what I love about my coach. Every word he told me, he's been strong to it and he's held it. And so his commitment to me, my commitment to Florida State and him, and his commitment to let me do what I need to do with my son. I wouldn't even want to coach football for nobody right now.
Yeah.
We got Marco Munoz in the chat said we got a 13-year-old son in Texas marinating for you, Coach. So they want some of that FSU football in their life. Them Texas boys, they growing big. So, Coach, thank you so much for your time.
Coach. Thank you.
Go Seminoles.
Go Noles, man. Not Seminoles. Go Noles, baby.
Go Noles, baby. Go Noles. All right.
About Seminoles, it's the greatest place on this earth for college football. There's no atmosphere. It can't be duplicated. We got the number one HBCU across the street from us, FAMU.
FAMU, yep.
All you young boys on here, you parents, check out the atmosphere. You'll love it.
All right, you guys heard it right there from one of the best to ever come from the Sunshine State. And he said, go Noles. They're going to make it happen. And there's the young bull about to knock one out the park. So we'll see you, Coach. Have a good one.
Coach, appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
All right, you guys. So, hey, we don't get many guests, you guys, on during the season like that. And, you guys got to take that one for granted. Coach gave us some time. Don't take it for granted is what I'm saying. But I know you guys got some value out of tonight's show. We had to get in, get out, but those are key topics. Q, what you thinking with Coach? You think the Noles going to come back?
I think they will. Like I said, I mean, what's going to help, again, is going back, as he said, to recruiting, but it's all about trying to keep those kids that are in Florida, the top players, and trying to keep them in state, trying to keep them from it is tough right now. It's trying to keep them from going to Alabama and Ohio State, or Michigan. So that's really, what the difference is now is, the tide is shifted, with recruiting, man. And NIL is a large part of that because these 4- and 5-star kids are going to look, unfortunately, sometimes and focus in on the NIL situation, going to a particular school, and that's not always the right thing to do.
What do you think? I mean, are you in agreement with the lack of competition sense and mindset that maybe some of these kids have? You think that's really a big thing?
I know, absolutely. I know it's a big thing. I've been saying that for some time. Why not go? Why not go and compete amongst the best? It's if you have other 4 and 5 star recruits, that are going, why not be there? Like, you're gonna practice alone, as he said. Like you admitted as well, like going to Colorado and going up against Javon Greens and other great receivers. It's like a game is nothing when you go through practice and you practicing against all conference guys, and go end up getting drafted, and you're practicing against them. You have nothing to do but get better as a player.
So do you have a problem if you're a scout for the Colts or the Jets, and you're a scout in West Virginia? Do you have a problem with their quarterback who's went to multiple schools? Would you still consider him if he's balling, or are you like, I would have liked to see him fight?
I would say,
JT Daniels?
Yeah, I would. I mean, the kid can play, definitely. But, you do have to look at, the intangibles. But to me, it's kind of like you have to look at that as that's a possible character issue. Because especially at the quarterback position, you have to have more heart than anybody on the whole squad. You see what I mean? So it looks like when you get in difficult situations that you shut down instead of taking it head on as a great quarterback should. So yeah, that would be a test. He might score great with, make all the throws, all the intangibles, good IQ, but in regards to character and heart, I mean, man, you can't give a kid that, but you have to grade it.
You gotta grade it.
You gotta grade it.
You trying as a scout, you're trying to pick the right people.
Exactly.
So the great Jimmy Rucker still with us, says iron sharpens iron, and he is definitely right. So, I mean, you guys got to think about that. Some of you guys are getting close to that college decision, that recruiting decision, going to put pen to paper. Are you going to go to the bigger school where it might be a little bit more competition? Or are you going to try to go somewhere where you feel like you could play right away? Everybody's situation's different, you guys. But you got to keep in mind, if I'm a scout, I'm probably going to look at the second cat at Alabama before I look at the first cat at North Texas.
Absolutely. I mean, even you could even make the argument of look at Tom Brady. He can, I'm sure his agent could have got him out of there, with the Patriots, but how long did he sit behind Drew Bledsoe? You wait your turn, you be patient, you make yourself better, and when the time arises, then you shine. And Tom Brady never let go of the steering wheel once Bledsoe went down, and then look at where it got him, because he stayed with the Patriots and he fought. He didn't quit. He didn't ask to be, to be traded out of the Patriots. If he would have left the Patriots and got frustrated because Drew Bledsoe is the next Dan Marino, his story wouldn't be what it is.
Great point.
Think about that for a minute.
That's the testimony.
That is right there. Right there in your face.
That's the testimony. Yeah. So you guys, hey, all of it's an individual, different, situation. So you want to get some consultation. You want to weigh some things out, but it's not always better to jump in that portal or go somewhere else. So hopefully you guys got a lot out of tonight's show. I know you did. Coach Corey Fuller coming in, Power 5 school during the season, you guys, to show us some love and give us some game and take us to the next level. So I'm Coach Wood. It's Q. A lot of you guys are coming around to the end of the season or maybe to them playoffs if your team is doing well. So at the end of the day, Q, what they got to do, baby?
Make plays.
Make plays. We'll see y'all at the top. Have a good one.